Have you ever looked around your business or your team and thought, if I don't hold this all together, it'll all fall apart? You're not alone in feeling alone, but that doesn't mean you have to stay stuck in survival mode. In this episode, we're going to pull together all the insights from this season to show you how to shift from reactive to resilient and burnout to breakthrough. Stick around for one game-changing question that could change the way you lead starting today. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to another season recap. And this season we talked about what it feels like when you're leading alone. So in this recap, we are going to discuss those actionable strategies that will create a clear path forward for you. Leading can feel lonely and isolating, especially if you're running a small business, a team, or an organization. It can feel sometimes like you're making all the decisions, or you're solving all of the problems, and you're taking care of everybody else except for yourself. So today, we're going to talk about 5 of the techniques and tips that this season brought you and some actionable strategies. So make sure that you got out your journal, your pen, if you're driving, if you're working out, however you're listening to us and you can't get to a pen and a pencil, simply bookmark this episode because you are not going to want to miss the strategies, especially in these season recaps. There's a lot of gold nuggets here, so make sure that you stay tuned till the end. Let's get into this first tip. We talked about early on in this season how to reflect before you realign. And I like to do these in quarterly increments. I'm a huge fan of 90-day sprints. And at the end of those 90 days, I simply ask myself 3 questions before I get into the next 90 days. First question, what is working? What's working as far as your business, your processes, your systems, maybe the people that you have on your team? What is working? The second one is, what are those things that are draining you? Okay, so they may be those small tasks, or it could be an individual on your team or somebody that you've hired. What is draining you? And the third one is, what's missing? 3 powerful questions that force you to reflect before we get into refining what the future looks like. And the way I like to do this is I block 60 minutes, at least, minimum 60 minutes on my calendar. I get out of the office. It's huge to change the environment. When we get into the environment that we're in day to day, it's hard to think outside the box. So it may be hard to answer these 3 questions. But I block 60 minutes. I normally go somewhere else, out of my office, out of my building, out of the center, the campus that you're on, and just sit with yourself. No emails, put your phone away, leave it in the car, whatever you have to do to give you 60 minutes of just you. It's important that you're able to sit with yourself, reflect back, start with these 3 questions. There may be other things that come up. Get you a journal and write those down. That will help you look backward to plan for your next 90 days. Really good tip there. The second one, motivating your team even when you feel like you're out of gas can be a heavy lift, but it doesn't have to be. So what are some things that we talked about in this season to get you support whenever you're just not there? Today's not the day. Listen, we're all human beings and we can't operate at 100% every single day. So what do we got to do when we're at that 50-75% mark? Some things here that I like to encourage leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs to do are to use those short sprints. Use like 2-week challenges with incentives, make the incentive fun, celebrate those small wins, and it gets things motivated again. It gets people energized when they have a short-term goal that they're working towards. And then what I want you to do is I want you to recognize a small win. And when I'm talking about small, it could be getting a report done on a certain time, a certain day of the week. It could be meeting a number or hitting your metrics, whatever that looks like, but do it in a weekly increment no matter how small it may seem to you, that kudos going out to your team gets them energized. So these aren't like big, huge energy drainers. These can be very small things that you can do as a leader, especially when your energy level might be lower than normal, to get those around you motivated, bring the energy. Energy is contagious. Our energy that we bring to work every single day, just try this out. Here's an experiment. Go to work. Don't be your normal self. Whether you say good morning in the morning, don't do it that morning. Go straight to your office and then see what happens. I promise you, if you are a routine, walk around the office, good morning, maybe go over, get yourself a cup of coffee, whatever your normal morning routine looks like, do the opposite and see if anybody notices. That's where you can recognize the energy. See what the mood of the office is. See what the mood of your team, those closest to you. I promise you, they're going to notice if you've been doing a great job leading, which all of you out there I know have. If you're listening to this podcast, you're taking the time to invest in yourself, which is the first step. Try it on, see what you think. And when you're running low, it is important that you show up with clarity. Don't fake it till you make it here. You can't fake energy when it comes to leading people. They're going to catch on pretty quick. But it is important that when you are drained, when you're having a bad day, that you come with clarity. You come with clarity and you make sure that you have purpose. That's going to beat showing up fake any single day of the week. Let's get into this third tip, because this one right here, it's all about sustainable leadership. Sustainable leadership is greater than superhero leadership any day of the week, any time of the year. As a leader, one of the things that we need to do is be consistent. I used to think, John, you have to be a good communicator. John, you have to be a good delegator. John, you got to make decisions. But in the end, it's how you consistently do each one of those things that make you a great leader. That separates the good from the great. So how are we going to do that? One idea here, and I have 4 non-negotiables I do every single day that are personal. But what I'm going to challenge you all here out there in the Go Be Great community is come up with one leadership non-negotiable and then implement it tomorrow. One leadership non-negotiable, it could be you're going to send a thank you out daily. You're going to empower somebody or communicate the vision of the organization. Could be you're going to include somebody in the next decision that you're going to make. Whatever that looks like, one non-negotiable that you will integrate into your leadership habits. And this is going to create those micro habits. You know that I'm big on micro to macro and then looking back. So it all feeds itself. The energy piece will come as long as we're consistently getting better. And through that consistency, these non-negotiables are going to help you create habits. So build one non-negotiable into your weekly rhythm. It could be a check-in with your team. Maybe you're not doing check-ins, so you start with your team and then maybe you break that down into individuals. That's a non-negotiable you could start. It could be maybe just you yourself having an evening of unplugging. Put your phone away, do whatever you want. Spend some time recharging your battery. Whatever that looks like, try it on. I want to take a quick break from the episode today to talk about a couple things. The first thing, less than 40% of our listeners are subscribed to our channel. You would be doing me a huge favor if you click on that subscribe button. It helps us grow our Go Be Great community and get this podcast out to as many people as we possibly can. The second thing, are you a small business owner that is drowning in the day-to-day operations? You're delegating tasks and you're still doing all the work. You're experiencing a high turnover. Maybe you don't have the systems and processes in place that you need to run a successful business. I invite you to go over to thejohnespinosa.com, fill out the form to see if you're the right fit. Now back to the episode. And then our leader system, the Go Be Great leader system, is a great way to create that sustainable leadership. So leader is an acronym. You're going to listen here, not just to your team, but you also have to listen to yourself. What's going on? Back to those 3 questions that we talked about earlier. Those are internal, introspective questions to help you listen to yourself, and that'll translate into you listening into your team. The E is an envision. You need to empower people. You need to see beyond what today's fire is, what today's challenge is, and then you need to communicate that so people know that there's a way forward. People know that there is another side to the challenge, to whatever that you're trying to work towards. And then D is for drive. You're going to drive the results. You're going to drive that vision towards whatever goal, whatever purpose, whatever commitment, whatever standard that you have set. And then E is empower. We constantly empower our folks, and then R is that reflection. So again, empower and reflection continuously happens, and it all is set on that foundation of lead. Listen, envision, align, and then drive. That leader system we teach in our one-on-one coaching sessions. We teach in our team sessions. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, go out to the website, thejohnespinosa.com. Click on the link there, sign up for some more information. Tip number 4, ownership, not just accountability. This one right here, stop trying to solve everything. We as leaders think that we're the problem solver, we're the fixer of our organizations. If you are the only one fixing problems, you're going to stay the only one fixing problems. That means you're going to be attached to the business 24/7. When a problem comes up, who are they going to call? That's right, they're going to call you. So how do we get away from that? We're going to start handing over the decision. We're going to start handing over and empowering people to make decisions through a framework. Not just, this is how, or instructions, I want you to do it. Create a framework for people to operate in, and then hand over that decision and allow them to make a decision within that framework. This is going to go a long way with creating accountability and not just having ownership of every single thing that we have in our businesses, on our teams, and within our organizations. So a good question that I like to use to empower others is, what is your recommendation? What would you recommend that we do? Not, here's how to do it. 2 totally different frames of thought. So what are you recommending here? Great question to get people to think about how they would solve a problem or how they would make a decision. And then the second piece is reward initiative, even if it's not perfect. You should not be the only one that is making decisions within your organization, your team, and your business. You need to make the important decisions, but you need to empower others. And then if they get it wrong, don't come down on them. Don't bring the hammer down on, well, you should have done this. I should have never let you make that decision. What are the lessons learned? And then we move forward. If you had something that you would have done differently, what would that have been? It allows them to reflect. We can't be the only ones reflecting back on the decisions, the things that we do in our business. We need to empower that. I want to create a team of go-tos, of people who are empowered to make decisions, to think on their own, not have to come to me. And if they are coming to me, they're bringing me recommendations and solutions to the problem or the challenge at hand. So this ownership, not just accountability, is an important part of how we as leaders don't just lead alone, but we empower people and we ensure that accountability is sustained. And then last but not least, it's okay to be the only one, not just forever. We as leaders got into our businesses, got into leadership for one reason and one reason only: to help others get to where they're going, to empower others, to be a service-minded leader. And we can do that alone. We just can't do it alone forever. So what are some things that we talked about in this season? One, we have to recognize when we become the bottleneck in our organizations. When systems and processes have single points of failure, and that single point of failure is you, we need to rethink that systems and process to the point where how can we get others involved where maybe we're not the only one that can delegate, that can make the decision, or that is the choke point in this system or process. And then map those things. So how do you do that, John? We map those things out. What are the things that only we can do or that are inherently a leadership responsibility if you're the single manager, boss in your organization? Once you map those things out, now what we're going to do, I call it the triple Ds. We're going to either delegate, we're going to do it ourselves, or we're going to delay. So those things on that list inherently that belong to us, we're going to do them. Everything else, we're going to delegate or we're going to delay them. How important it is, how does it fit into your strategic plan? That's why it's important to have that 90-day goal. What's out there? What needs to get done today and what can wait? These 5 tips, let's recap. 1, reflect before you redesign. Number 2, motivate your team even when you're out of gas. Number 3, sustainable leadership is greater than superhero leadership any day of the week. Number 4, ownership, not just accountability. And number 5, it's okay to be the only one, not just the one forever. Those 5 tips, go back, listen in to the episodes in this season. They are a great reminder, not just for me, but hopefully for you, to create that shift and start moving towards the culture that you want to create. So the challenge for you after listening to this episode, take one of these things, take one of these strategies, take one of these tips, and build them into your routine, into your leadership philosophy starting today. Just remember, Go Be Great community, that you don't have to carry it forever, but you do have to lead the shift. And I believe that you can get the job done. Go Be Great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor, click on that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go Be Great. Talk to everyone later.